Sitting next to Charles is Timothy Tyson. Tyson received his PhD in history from Duke University and is now a visiting professor at Duke Divinity School. His 2004 historical memoir, Blood Done on Monday, was a finalist for the National Book Critics Circle Award and was awarded the Southern Book Award, the Christopher Award, and the North Carolinian Book Award. As an author, Tyson has the distinction of having had his works adapted into both documentary and Hollywood-style narrative films. Blood Done on Monday was adapted into an independent film which was shot in North Carolina in 2008. It stars Michael Rooker, Nate Parker, and Ricky Schroeder. Please welcome Timothy Tyson. Timothy, you also had yourself portrayed in your film, in Blood Done on Monday, another memoir. Would you like to talk a little bit about your experience?
First, I just want to say about Mr. Dodson's experience, the worst justifiable homicide. That was my bad plan. If they did something like that, I would kill them. I tried to make that clear.
I'm sure yours is a good experience.
Was that self-defense term in your book?
Yeah, it was accidental self-defense. I guess it was a historical work. In its essence, I was even more worried that perhaps somebody might be with a different kind of book, because there are a lot of really terrible pitfalls, most of which were, I just knew they would try to turn it into To Kill a Mockingbird, which I know everybody loves To Kill a Mockingbird, but, I had movies about the good white folks. It's been done. And I had actually, when I was in graduate school, my dissertation, which was Radio Free Dixie, Robert F. Williams and the Roots of Black Power, which was, about this North Carolina NAACP leader who defies the Klan and the civil rights establishment, and he has an armed NAACP chapter that holds off the Klan in Monroe, North Carolina. And it's actually not all that unusual in that sense, because Fannie and Hamer and Medgar Evers, practically everyone in the civil rights movement you could name was armed to the teeth, because that was just reality on the ground in 1961. But Robert would shut up about it, and he liked to talk about it, and so he ended up getting run out of the country, and it's quite a wild tale. He ends up fleeing to Cuba and hanging out with Fidel Castro, and then to China, where he becomes friends with Mao Zedong and Zhou Enlai, and he's sort of the intellectual godfather of the Black Power movement. It's a wild tale, and would actually make a great movie. And so, one day I came home and we'd gotten a call, and I called him back, and it was a Hollywood producer, and they weren't going to turn Robert Williams' life into a movie, and he was tired of answering questions. So he said, call that boy down at Duke. He knows all that stuff. He had bought himself a used pickup truck with the proceeds, and I was happy to. Became the cheapest movie consultant in the history of movies, and then one day I get this call, and the producer actually sort of slithers through the phone. We were really kind of wondering if it was sort of a white character, but kind of like a white sort of hero, kind of someone who could play a role of. They wanted a white hero. Well, we were a little short of them. I would have been glad to write about one, and there had been one, but we were a little short on that. And I said something very brief and hung up on it. So So that was my introduction to the movie business. So I was expecting similar problems. And then the fellow who wanted to make Blood Inside My Name, his name was Jeff Stewart. I mean, he was named after a Confederate general. That did not seem like a good sign to me. And I don't know. I don't know if I was expecting somebody all artsy, but I tried to get off the phone, and then I said, "Well, no, I'm not around on Friday. I'm going to be in New Haven." Oh, great! Actually, I live in what's that town up there? Greenwich. Thank you. And he lived in Greenwich, which is not very far away. Could I meet him for lunch at the Union League Cafe? So I did. But he wrote Die Hard and The Fugitive, both of which are kind of smart in their own genre, but every project he had his name on it, Eddie Murphy in it or something. And it was really commercial, so I didn't see this as and I sat down and we talked, and I said, well, you got to boil this down a good deal. What's the film going to be about? And he said, well, I see it as being about a father and a son. And I said, so we're going to make a movie about white people. Okay. And he looked at me baffled. I said, yeah, it'll be To Kill a Mockingbird. I'll be Scout. Werner will be Atticus. We can get some nice black folks to come in and get lynched and sing hymns and stuff. We'll make a nice movie about white people. I thought that would be the end of it. He started saying, we'll fully round it out with American characters, blah, blah, blah. But I said, no, if you're going to make a movie about a father and a son, it's too close to that's where the groove is. We want a redemptive movie about the good white folks. And that's that's the movie that the viewer will see, even if you don't make that movie, because it's so close to what people have in their mind and what Hollywood's always given them. And so this is a really different kind of story. And if you're up for that, I'm up for that. But we don't need another To Kill a Mockingbird. And fortunately, we had some business setbacks that had nothing to do with me, and that gave us about a year and a half to talk. And I think he went and talked to Danny Glover, actually, who was his friend, about what I had said. And he ended up writing a really good screenplay. I had the intuition about 6 months later, after talking with him, that this was going to be all right, that he was a good storyteller and that he did understand. And when I got the screenplay in the mail, I read it standing in the driveway. I didn't even get to the house. And it was really good. It did not do the requisite turning it into the white hero movie. We didn't get the stock black characters. We didn't get Calpurnia. We didn't get Mammy. We didn't get a racial buddy movie. We didn't get any of the things that I was worried about. And he ended up. I think he did a really good job. Got a really good, particularly the African American cast. And I guess I feel like when history. When Hollywood turns to history, there's reason to worry. It's in my field, it's almost always bad. Usually, it's the white hero bit or the racial buddy movie, and history. It's not that I don't think it's all about being. They think it's not all about the facts. Like they want to get the makes and models of the cars right. They think that's history. We took a lot of care to do it with historical, that car was exactly in the long walk home, they got the bus that Rosa Parks got arrested on. And they towed it through the streets of Montgomery. That was actually so that Rosa Parks and Whoopi Goldberg got arrested on the same bus that Rosa Parks got arrested on, and that was supposed to be out as authentic. But let's just say mistakes were made. And that is a very, very trivial view of what historical authenticity is about. Because it becomes a big lie. Little truths turned into a big lie. And I felt like they were able to avoid that. My sense of it was, books and movies do different things. It's a different kind of storytelling. The mode is quite different. Whereas if I tell you about my grandmother's house in writing, it takes me 2.5, 3 pages. And there's a lot of detail, and hopefully it's evocative and captures your imagination, and you have an imagination that is close to the one that I hoped you would. And so I've done my job. But that whole thing is done in 3.5 seconds, with a shot of the porch and the furniture. You see my grandmother's things and her clothes, and you're supposed to understand. And so it's a storytelling that's different. It moves and it speaks in a different language, and it moves at quite a different pace. And I find that really a powerful thing. But you can use it. It's like any tool. You can use it well or for a good purpose or a bad purpose. You can lie with it really compellingly, or you can tell truth with it really compellingly. And I don't mean just little facts, because that's not really the point, but trying to catch the meat of things. I thought it was the most fascinating thing I've ever seen, the process. I would do it again in a heartbeat. But my power over it really depended on my relationship with Jeff Stewart. Because, somebody's got to, just the same way that we can't have somebody just looking over our shoulder while we're writing every morning. That'd be weird. That just wouldn't work out. You have to get out of the way and let them apply their craft. And it's not my craft, and I found it fascinating. Usually they want you to come visit the set. I hadn't heard of it. Now, Dodson stories about it, that's the worst thing I've ever heard. But a lot of times people get invited to the set for half a day, and then they really want you gone. Because they don't want you to, just like going, you can't sit in surgery while they're working on your kid. Right? The doctor doesn't need you looking over her shoulder while you're slicing up your child, right? She's got serious work to do, and you're not going to understand it. And it's a little bit like that. But they want you gone. They want to be nice to you, but really, they're playing. But I got to sit beside the director the whole time, and I've never seen anything quite so fascinating. And I'd do it again in a heartbeat. It was so much fun and really, really interesting. And I got to be part of the creative process somewhat. I wrote some speeches and stuff on the spot. I taught about 100 young African Americans who were dressed in black leather and black turtlenecks and Black Power era Pantherish kind of clothes at the Confederate Monument in Shelby. I taught them. I was over there reading a book, and Jeff said, Tyson, what are they going to do? Black Power, rally thing. What are they going to come here? What are they going to chant? So I ended up, teaching all these young black folks that could hardly keep a straight face. I'm like, Ungawa, Black Power, Ungawa, Black Power, bang, bang, Ungawa, Black Power. I'm teaching them like all We've got a shotgun. We have got a shotgun. Yeah. Teaching them that the lore of the Black Power movement, which none of us can even stop laughing on this old white man. Teaching them about all these radical chants. But that's just kind of a snapshot. But it was interesting stuff. I had to write a speech for Golden Friends, like, in a minute, literally. It's one of the major pieces in the movie, really. I wonder why he didn't have it written. But anyway, it didn't matter. And stuff like that, it was just fascinating. It's just the whole thing. And, it made me realize very much, too, that it's something that happens in time. And these stories we tell them as best we can, and we tell them in the moment. But that moment is a moment in this time. And so it's odd to sit there and watch your life and the moments that made you who you are sort of being reenacted in front of you. And it reminds you that you're not there anymore, that it is gone, that you can try to bring it back, but it's not here, that you're in this moment instead. That father that's playing with me over there on the set is not the father that's sitting beside me who's 55 years older than that. And we're not doing that again, And so it sort of reminds you of the even us present quality of things. And I found it to be a joy and was glad. I guess my bottom line was my calculation on it was I feel like the book does its work well. It's the best I can do. It does the work that I meant for it to do fairly well. And if the movie doesn't just undo the work of the book, you know what I mean? If the movie doesn't work in the opposite direction, that'd be good. And if it gets some people to read the book, it's a pretty good ad, As your movie is going down the tank, that's, I think the movie we made by the time I was in the theater for a day and a half, but as it's sort of going down the tube, some millions of people see it. Millions. Now, by the time I sold some books, but it's not a billion. Not millions and millions, and that's a lot of folks. So if it cannot undo the book and carry some of what you meant to say, and not screw that up, and maybe it can interest some of those folks in reading the book, and then it's a good thing. But it can go really badly. The movies is just like high school. People leave there knowing less than they did when they went in. Because they know that just ain't so. And so for a historian, if you can get out without them learning stuff that ain't so, and it doesn't mess things up completely, then I feel like you've done pretty well. But that was my ambition for it, but I thought it did better than that. And I'm glad for it. I'm glad for it to be out there. It's a different medium, and it doesn't, I don't think you can compare it exactly, but because it's a different language. But it's a fascinating language, and one that I was glad to watch unfold.
Thank you.